Okay, so we are looking at populists and progressives in this lecture. And one of the things to keep in mind is how these two groups are both similar and different. So, one of the things that makes them similar is the way in which they are creating change. The difference here with this change, though, is that the populists are revolutionary in their change. They are going to suggest things that will ultimately change the Constitution, will change the way we look at the economy, will change the way we do politics. It's revolutionary change. Things like a direct election of US senators, or putting more silver into the economy, giving some ownership of railroads to the government. Revolutionary change that at the time seems like impossible to believe. Progressives, on the other hand, are mostly centered in the city, unlike populists in the rural areas. Although ultimately, populists will attract the attention outside of rural areas, but progressives are situated in the city, and progressives are seeking to create reform. That's the change they create. So again, not so much revolution as reform. And so a couple of the progressive reformers you have on your outline here are Reese, Adams, the Women's Trade Union League in response to the Triangle Factory fire. And then we also see it at a national level with people like Theodore Roosevelt. Again, they are helping people cope with the situations of industry as opposed to, suggesting maybe revolutionary things like creating minimum wage or 8-hour days. Now, again, the Women's Trade Union League will suggest some of those things, so this isn't so clearly black and white to say that progressives are only reformers and not revolutionaries, but like generally speaking, that's kind of how we can distinguish them. There's also an element of social Darwinism to some of like progressive reformers. So you'll see some of that social Darwinism in some of the photos of Jacob Riis and some of the policies of Jane Addams. You'll see some of those kind of social Darwinian ideas. I'm hesitant to be too critical of them though, because they are at least doing something when most people at this period are doing nothing. All right, so again, just a brief explanation there of populists versus progressives. You just finished looking at some films on the populist, and then we'll get some links and films too for progressives.